God is not a God that starts something and stops. God is the finisher of something. God finishes. So whatever he starts, he finishes. He doesn't stop. He finishes. It's literally an ability to go, okay, today's a new day. What are you doing? What works for you? What's your priorities in this season? Like what, and that can shift, right? If you guys caught the Kingdom Seed Challenge, a portion in there where I talked about the different seasons that we're in, we can have different priorities of that season, right? Because everything shifts and it changes. You hung out with me long enough. You've heard me say this numerous times. God is not a God that starts something and stops. God is the finisher of something. God finishes. So whatever he starts, he finishes. He doesn't stop. He finishes. So there's that's a huge shift if we let it become a shift in our own hearts, because what it does is it unhooks us from feeling like we're failing a system or that we're out of a rhythm or that we broke routine. It's not a priority of getting our routine back. It's literally an ability to go, okay, today's a new day. Today's a new day. And then this season, as things have changed or things have shifted or a new priority came into my life or whatever it is, this is what it needs to look like now. Because there was a whole season of my life and I'm always getting coached and mentored. Like we're meant to be poured into. We are meant to be poured into. So once you get a taste of that, you don't want to do it different because it's discipleship. It's what God called us to. One of the mentorships that I've been in for a while, I was doing two things at once. I was doing another program plus this mentorship. And it was like, I had to make choices because I couldn't do it all, right? I didn't want to prioritize all of everything that was in those programs because I wouldn't have been putting boots on anything. I would have run out of time to actually do something, actually put to practice what I was learning. So what I heard the Lord say was I was investing into this one program and doing all the things that this program was inviting me to do. And I was to do that. And then this other mentorship, although there was a massive buffet of everything that I could ever want, what he said was get in the prayer calls and don't miss a prayer call. That was what I was to pull from that in that particular season. There was everything under the sun on the buffet. And God's like, I want you to sink into the prayer calls. And I did. It was for 7 months that these two overlapped. And for those 7 months, I went all in on learning and doing the thing, so that I was still working and moving forward in what I was doing. And in the other one, I sunk my teeth into, showed up in complete, I never missed any. And there was 5 a week. That's wild. 5 a week. So for 5 hours a week, I was in prayer calls. And the really wild thing with that is the Lord invited me to just receive, to be in the room, to get in the atmosphere, and to be in that place of just receiving. What that does, though, is when we get into that level of surrender and walking with the Lord like that, it does something new in us too. Not only does it renew us and refresh us, but it actually builds us up and expands territory. Heart, mind, soul, and strength first, intimacy with him first. Then, of course, we get to know ourselves. We get to be self-aware. We get to listen to what God's doing in us. We start paying attention to what's actually going on in us. Then we can start seeing what's going on around us and through us. That was a really sweet season. It was big because it was a really early start for me personally because of what time the prayer calls were at. So it meant that level of sacrifice was that I needed to get out of my bed 2 hours earlier every single day, 5 days a week, so that I could get on these prayer calls and never pray out loud. Actually, that's not totally true. I did it once. Once did I unmute and contribute vocally. But yet it was the Lord's like, don't do it. Don't do it. He was raising up all these prayer warriors in the room and I got to receive. It was beautiful. So my point in saying all of that is no matter where you're at right now, and that's why I want you all sharing, is because when we're in isolation, the enemy loves to give us lies that we're doing it wrong, that something's wrong with us, that it's not worth it. It's really important to go, you know what, this is what's important for me right now. I'm paying attention to what I'm paying attention to. This is what I've prioritized. And this is what's working. And so when we share that with each other, we get the opportunity of going, oh my goodness, that's what I'm doing too. And I thought I was alone, right? It actually shines light into any places where there might be, a narrative attached to that or a story attached to what we're doing. And so, lovelies, I want you to share, what is your priority? And then can you just own that and settle into it and make it a, Lord, you've invited me to this. I'm all in. I'm never going to miss this one thing, or I'm scheduling this in this portion of my week. And it is a non-negotiable for me. It's a date with me and you, Lord. I'm going to hit play. My notebook's ready, or I'm going for a walk, Wendy's in my ears, or whatever it is. What does it look like for you personally? I really want us to own that, because again, as we expand, we're going to expand self-awareness too. And the more we pay attention to it, the more we'll understand what's really important right now. All right. Deal. All right. So authenticity, intentionality. One more thing today I want to talk about is responsibility, because it goes all together with this. Now, I've been talking about some kingdom superpowers. I love to call them that. They're just kingdom principles, but there's no such thing as just kingdom principles. Kingdom principles literally transform our world. They transform our world internally, heart, mind, soul, and strength. And they also transform our world externally in everything where we step our foot. Now the kingdom comes. And when there's kingdom coming, there's expansion. There's taking territory. There's doing new things, but with the Lord, for the Lord, because of the Lord. When we partner, here's the thing, we have to partner. They're always in play. God never takes away his principles, ever. We can literally access them all of the time. And so it's like the second we access them is the second we receive the blessing, we receive the freedom, we receive the anointing, we receive the expansion, we receive it. Forgiveness, principle. The second I partnered with it is the second I'm free. The second you partner with it is the second you're free, but you have to partner with it, right? Same thing with intentionality, authenticity, being fully you. Today, I want to add another one to this, another kingdom principle that is massive. And when we partner with it, literally transformative, and that is responsibility. Now, responsibility, again, in our current culture, responsibility has this weird kind of combination of definition over top of it. And I want to get us back to the biblical principle of responsibility and what he means, what God means when he gives us the opportunity to take responsibility. He's giving us the freedom to respond. Now, what does the enemy immediately want us to do? He wants us to feel like we're in lack. There's not enough. I'm not enough. You're not enough. The world's not enough. Everything's not enough. That spirit of lack is really loud and it's everywhere. It's insidious. It's literally everywhere. So we have to get out from underneath its authority. And how do we do that? We partner with any of the principles, specifically this one though, freedom to respond. Freedom breaks lack in a second. It breaks lack and it breaks the poverty spirit. It also breaks the victim spirit where we feel like there's not enough and we're victim to it. And we don't know it's there until we see it. But one of the greatest ways I've ever seen for any of us to do this is responsibility. Literally, it's the freedom to respond. You're not a victim if you partner with freedom, right? You're not a victim. There's no lack when you partner with freedom. And it's like, oh, you mean just by taking responsibility, I'm tapping into spiritual, like immediate bondage breaking, immediate new ways of thinking, immediate heart healing, immediate renewal, new mercy, freedom to respond, not react. React is old. If we look at reaction comes from everything we already know, right? Reaction comes out of a trigger, comes out of a way of thinking, comes out of that's a reaction. We do the same thing on repeat. React. Respond is intentional. We have to pause for a second and make a choice. Now we are accessing our free will, and God has given us that as, again, a kingdom superpower, free will. We get to choose. We choose to respond. We're choosing freedom. When we choose freedom to respond, we choose our free will. It's all woven together. So when we partner with responsibility, we partner with the freedom to respond. We get into the intentionality of how God wants to order our days. We get into the rhythms and the disciplines that we want in our life. All of a sudden, when we take the freedom to respond, we automatically lift our standards. What used to be tolerable isn't. What we used to put up with, we don't. What we used to follow down the reaction trail and it takes us out at the knees for days and weeks. When we take the freedom to respond, literally, we're like, here's the bar. Nothing less than that bar is going to be my normal. And if it ever does come for me that wants to drop me underneath that bar, I see it now. I see it quick. And I know you will too. You do too. And so it's like, as soon as you raise your standards, all of a sudden, the things that used to feel like bondage, the things that used to feel like you were a victim to, the things that used to be on repeat in your life, and you're like, how do I get out of this? I've tried everything. I've tried heart healing. I've tried this. I've tried that. I've tried. Must be something wrong with me. I'm good Christianing myself to death on this, and nothing's changing. God, do you even love me? Right? We can get all kinds of story, but then it's like, oh, God's like, I already gave you the freedom. Here, like a package, the freedom, it's already yours. So now you get to respond. How are you going to respond? And then you're like, wait a minute, how am I going to respond? Am I going to follow my reactions down every road they want to take me? Or am I going to choose something different? Am I going to choose to press in? Am I going to choose to go deeper, higher, wider with you, Lord? Am I going to choose to press into community with people who already love me because I know their standard is the same as mine minimally? We've raised the standard. Now get surrounded by those people, at least that high. Now, where can we take it again? The more we do this, the more we raise our own personal standards and we keep up with that. It can be that simple. And that's the freedom to respond. That's responsibility. It isn't just grit. Like I love to kind of apply this everywhere. Apply this in your relationships. Apply this in your finances. Apply this with your time. Apply this with your disciplines. Apply this with your priorities, with where God has you today. Apply this to your heart healing, renewing of your mind, of the functions of your day, of your health. Just raise your standards. I was in the fitness industry, not because I love working out. I don't love working out. I don't. But I love the fruit of what it can do for us girls. I love women. I'm the heart of women. That's why I do what I do now. But I've always done something in that direction. And so when I was doing this fitness industry, and the only reason that all changed is 2020 changed everything, right? So my brick and mortar completely out of business. And I didn't want to take this all online and try to compete with the gazillion now trainers online. I'm like, oh Lord, there's got to be something different that you want to do in this season than that. Because again, I'm not just into the working out. If I was just into working out, I could create a million videos and we'd be good to go. But that's not why I did it. I did it to get in the room. I did it to get into have access to women's hearts. I did it so I could speak life over women. This is my heart. I've always had this heart. And now my priority is doing this. Now I am online. Now I am speaking live. Now I am getting in the room. So those are still my priorities. It's the how that changed. How changed. But my heart never did. So I took the freedom to respond of like, well, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about this? Am I going to dive in the pit of losing so much, of reevaluating my very identity of who I am and all the things that I know a lot of business owners went through? And I'm like, no. It took me deeper. It took like, I've always been pretty deep on these things, but it took me even deeper of going, all right, Lord, what's my greatest motivation? What's my standard? And it's the things that I just talked about. What motivates me to do what it is that I do? Getting in the room, speaking life, creating spaces for God to be encountered by women all over the world now. In that time, it was local, right? It's like that can still exist. So no, Lord, I'm going to respond to every move you're making. I'm going to go yes on this. I'm going to get real intentional. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to do the grieving in real time of the loss of that reality and move into the new thing that you're doing, Lord. I'm going to take the freedom to respond and be in the place where I could do what it is that I needed, wanted, desired, had freedom to do. Applying not just what everything I said, but even the raising your standards, because I came from the fitness industry, this was really applicable. So I just want to speak this over each and every one of us. And I'm taking my own advice right now. So I'm in it as much as maybe anybody else wants to join me. That would be awesome. In the raising my own standards when it comes to my health. And what can that look like? It's like, rather than try to tap into willpower, you'll wear yourself out. Do you need it? Sure. You got to have some grit, some resilience. You got to come up against what your flesh desires versus where your standard is, where your priority is, where your focus is, where your responsibility sits. Your freedom to respond is here. Your body, your flesh, your old patterns are going to be screaming at you for a hot minute. But you can, instead of just going, I just got to free will and grit the crumb out of this, you could go, no, actually, I'm just going to start living from the top of my standards. So when it comes to your own health, if you're ever in a place of like, oh man, I need to do a little extra here or a lot extra here in order to feel great in my own skin again, in order to get hormones balanced again, in order to be comfortable in my clothes again, order to be able to sleep well and deal with stress or to deal with change in this season, I must raise my standards when it comes to what? What do you need right now, my friend, when it comes to your health? Maybe it's everything. Maybe it's a little bit of everything and you get the choice, right? You get the freedom to respond. Or maybe it's like in one area real specific. And you're like, I got to get all in on that. And here's my standard. I ain't going below that line. So when it comes to your health, it's really easy to actually go, okay, how does this actually apply? Everything that I've been talking about, how does it actually apply? This is how it applies. So if you're like, okay, I need to lose weight. If weight is the thing that's making you feel uncomfortable, that is a production of hormone imbalances, that's a production of a season of life that was super stressful, anything. It's like, okay, rather than shaming ourselves to get ourselves to motivate forward, shame doesn't ever do that, by the way. If we're just like, all right, from now on, I'm going to forgive myself for this last season. I'm going to release the facts that this was a tough season, a stressful season, a change season, whatever it was. Or I'm going to be kind to this body of mine that's doing menopause or pre-menopause or coming at me menopause. Like maybe we're in those stages. We're going to be kind to our body and go, God, you gave me this incredible body. You also know how to balance this thing out. You know how to balance this thing out. And I just want to partner with your wisdom. So Lord, what is the new standard I need right now to help me balance out my hormones so that I can lose this weight, to help me balance out my systems and my rhythms of my day so that I can lose this weight, to get comfy in my own skin again, to be sleep better, etc. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, now it's easy. Oh, I know for sure. I got to get rid of all processed food. Like, honestly, all of us, if that was the only thing we did is never eat processed food again, we would instantly start losing weight. It would instantly start balancing out some hormones. We wouldn't have to change anything else quite yet. If that was the priority, it would make a massive difference because it becomes a non-negotiable. Like I'm talking for any one of us, and we can use this language, right? I know full well I'm dehydrated. Don't love water. Don't drink enough water. It's summer. I know for sure I'm not drinking enough water. It's summer. You know, I drink too much of this or whatever. So therefore I'm never thirsty for water. So I got to get some more water in my life. And you're like, okay, I got to get some more water in my life is good revelation. What's the invitation? Where's the standard? The standard is I must drink so many ounces of water a day. So you set your standard, you set your number, and then you're like, okay, now what? Plan it out. I know how water goes. That's why I'm saying this one. Water. Otherwise, we're drinking too much at 8:00 at night. And now we've got a great complaint that we're peeing all night long. And all the excuses start coming up and the interruptions start coming up. And then we're like, oh, that's not worth it. Right? We'll lower our standard. It's like, okay, wait, wherever our standard hits, then all of a sudden the plan instantly kind of shows up, doesn't it? As soon as we're like, okay, from now on, I'm drinking enough water every single day. I know what that is. We're all very educated. That's why I love talking about this particular subject, is it's not a lack of education. None of us are where we're at for a lack of education, right? None of us have a lack of knowledge. We could all tell each other how much water we're to drink, what kind of foods we should be eating, what time of day do we stop eating, start eating, right? Like we've got all kinds of knowledge. We do. We know how to work out and exercise. We know how many steps in a day we should get. We know that as we age, we should be doing muscle strength and conditioning. We know we should be doing some gentle impact the rest of our lives so that our bone function stays with us and we don't get osteoporosis. We know these things. Plus, we know what a processed food is. We know what's in that scope. We know when we're eating our plate of food, we know exactly what's healthy, what's not healthy. It's not a lack of education. It's a lack of a standard. It's a lack of a choice, responsibility. And we're the only ones, literally, when it comes to all of the things, health is easy to pick on, who get to renew this mind of ours. We are the only ones who get to deal with what goes on in our hearts, the triggers that I spoke to earlier. We are the only ones who get to take the responsibility for our own health. Can we get support in all the areas? You better believe it. But are we the ones that support? Nobody gets to take responsibility but you. And that's why responsibility is such a power tool. That's why it's a superpower. That's why it's a principle that's unchanging. The minute we partner with the fact that we are the only ones who can take responsibility for us is the minute we take our power back. Now, victim spirit gets crushed. Poverty and lack spirit gets crushed. So does orphan. So like all of the things get crushed because we took the freedom to respond. And the minute we take the freedom to respond is the minute that we raise our standard. They go together. They do. The minute we take responsibility is the minute something changes. It really does. We could all testify to this. I really want us to own this. The minute, like, put it on your wall. The minute you take responsibility is the minute it changes. If nothing's changing, it means you have not taken responsibility. If nothing has changed, it means you haven't taken the freedom to respond. You might be reacting, and that reacting is rooted in the things that I spoke to. There's no lack in the kingdom. So therefore, there's a solution. There is a standard. There is a plan. And all you have to do is raise your standard. Now, all of a sudden, it's a non-negotiable, and there's a level of ease to that. This is huge. And a lot of us get tired, right? And that becomes a great motivator for us. We're tired. We're tired of doing the work. We're tired of making the choices. We're tired of circling the same mountain. We're tired, right? And that becomes a narrative. Is tired. And I kind of wanted to call it forward today because not only is it common, but it's actually kind of become an identity, really. I mean, when you ask somebody, how are you? How many people in your world, when you say, how are you? What do they respond? Oh, I'm tired, right? They're just tired. Everybody's tired. It's like, okay, how tired are you? Because you haven't taken responsibility. This is huge. It's become an identity because we're not taking responsibility. Ooh. You know, I was talking to authenticity and how it could ruffle something. This one might ruffle something in us, right? And that's not a bad thing. I mean everything I say in so much love, but it's something to be so curious about of if we're just so tired, like we're emotionally spent. I mean, trust me, I know there's so much that takes so much energy. I am not downplaying any of those things. And the big emotional asks of life, grief and change and the unknowns and the difficult seasons, that's not what I'm talking about. Those are unique things unto themselves. I'm just talking in all the general things, all the things we're not happy about, all the things that we want to change, but we haven't changed yet. These things make us very tired. They make us emotionally tired because they're wearing us out. It's kind of like having a room in your house that's overwhelmed with stuff that literally you could put away, you could deal with, or a corner or a junk drawer, a shelf, a closet there that's just overwhelming. It's brimming and you're kind of like trying to close the door just so you don't have to look at it. But the fact is, you know, it's there. The fact is, you know, you have to do the work. Nobody's going to do that for you. The fact is, you know, it's waiting for you and it's actually wearing you out as you're not doing it. It wears you out. Have you guys ever had that experience where you spent 6 months thinking about a closet that you need to clean out? And then you clean it out and go, why the heck didn't I do this quicker? Right? It's kind of like that. It's like, it was not kind of like that. It is that. When we've got things in our own heart, mind, soul, and strength, when we got things relationally, when we got things physically, if we do not take responsibility for it, it will wear us out. We're responsible for, if we're responsible for that closet, then clean the closet. Responsible for what's going on in your body. And we need to, nobody gets to do that for us, right? We're responsible for what goes here. So what are we doing about it? Are we in a pattern that we love, or do we want to raise our standard? So we get the choice, right? We get freedom to respond. And we know the fruit of taking responsibility is an immediate upgrade. There's an immediate freedom piece attached to that versus the wearing out, grinding of tiredness. because we haven't taken responsibility. So responsibility, lovelies, is a principle that God has for us at our fingertips at all times. And the second we tap into it is the second we receive, literally. What are we inspired to raise our standard on today? What are you up for? Are you raising your standard in your health? Are you looking at your finances and need to raise a standard there? What does that look like? What does it look like to raise a standard in your relationships? What does it look like to raise a standard in your home? Maybe it's your atmosphere of your home. Maybe it's the relationships in your home. Maybe it's the physical closets in your home. What does it look like to raise your standard with your time and your energy, the priorities of this season? What does it look like, lovelies, when we take full responsibility and go, nobody else is going to do that for me? God, you have completely set me up. You have divinely set me up to walk into my freedom here, and I'm going to choose it. I'm going to choose it. I'm going to choose the freedom to respond. And when I choose the freedom to respond, I get a download of freedom. Again, it's really easy as a personal trainer. It's really easy to see this in women's hearts and minds and souls and strength when they make a divine decision to raise their standard in their health. All of a sudden, they think differently, they feel differently, they respond differently, right? They react even differently. Everything gets touched when we raise the standard in any area. Any area. We are heart, mind, soul, and strength. Everything comes out of the fullness of who we are. We take mass responsibility for one area, everything else gets affected. We become a better us in every area of our life. We just do. When we invest in ourselves, put ourselves in the room of learning, we put ourselves in the room of receiving, we put ourselves in the room of being around other people who are pouring into one another, who are holding space, holding holy ground, going all in on what God's called them to do. When we get surrounded by that, what do we notice in the other areas of our life? Like there's a ripple effect. That's what's so beautiful is I spoke to this before about the tides, right? When the tide comes in on one area, the raising of the standard on one area, it means that all ships get raised. The tide doesn't just raise your health, right? The standard doesn't just increase your health. The standard also then increases relationships. It increases how you steward. It increases how you manage. It increases how you organize. It increases how you feel. It increases how you think. It increases everything. When we raise one standard, that tide raises all ships. And so, lovely, I want to ask you right now, what are you being inspired to right now? Just out of everything we just talked about, what's the challenge? What's the invitation? There's a ton of revelation here. So what's the invitation? I want us to know what that is. Write it down, first of all. Where are you going to raise your standard? What area of your life you're going to focus on? And just pick one today. Just pick one and do the one. Write it down. Make some personal notes to yourself. What are you hearing from God? Pull all together what you have so far. And then commit to it. Take your responsibility and go, God, I heard you. I am all in. I'm walking in total obedience to this. I am all in and taking responsibility for who you've called me to be, what you've called me to be, how you've called me to be. That means that I'm going to see increase in this area. That means I'm going to see greater what? Greater health, greater space, greater time, greater peace, greater what? Because you can claim it now because you're going to see it, right? When we invest in any area of that raised standard, we're going to see the fruit of it. When we invest in our health, we see an increase in our health. When we invest in working out every day, raising our standard of not eating processed food, raising our standard and making sure we're drinking our water, raising our standard and going to bed on time, raising our standard and putting good stuff in our ears, raising our standard and not letting our eyes fall on anything that God says, don't look at that. Raising our standard of who we hang out with, who we're listening to, what we're participating in. When we raise our standard of how we spend our time, when we raise our standard of how long we're going to follow a trigger down its road before we interrupt that thing, go, wait a minute. How long? Raise your standard. God has given us so much power. Lots of times we get told, like we're not supposed to be in control. God's in control. Yeah, okay, perfect, awesome, amazing. But he gave you power. And that power means you get this level of responsibility. That responsibility means you have some level of control in this situation. If you don't take it, nothing's controlled. Nothing. We disempower God in those moments because he forces nothing, right? If we don't want our freedom, he can't force us to take our freedom. If we don't want to partner with the sound mind that he gave us, he can't force us to. He won't force us. Will he invite us a million times? You betcha. Will he give us every opportunity under the sun to partner? You betcha. Will he force us? No, he doesn't. Man, sometimes I wish he would. It'd be so much easier. Lord, force me to forgive. That'd be great. That would be great sometimes. But no, he gives us the freedom to respond. And the minute I do that, I take back the power that he already gave me. And now I've partnered with his power. Now, exceedingly abundantly, more than we could ask or imagine, right? That standard becomes our floor versus our ceiling. So when we raise our standard, when we partner with the freedom to respond, it literally trajectory shifting, immediate freedom, immediate upgrade, immediate. Now let's multiply it. Let God do some momentum. Now we're in some momentum with the Lord. Now let's talk about him being in control. He's like, yeah, let's go. Put your foot into that. Let's speed this car up. Let's go. Let's take some more territory, right? That's how we do it. We get to choose. He gives us the invite. We have to choose it. So lovelies, what are you raising your standard to? What area are you focusing on? Let's do this together. I'm going to continue unpacking some principles and weaving all of this together. Trajectory shifting stuff that adds momentum. And God wants us in momentum. He meant it he's like the go. That takes some momentum to go. When we're in momentum, it's easier to go. So let's get into momentum, stay in momentum. Where's our standard? Let's raise it. What area? God bless you and keep you, my friends, for his face is absolutely shining upon you. Yours is a very good idea. You are his beloved, and I will see you next time. Again, drop in the chat all the things that we talked about, and I will talk to you real soon.